Welcome back to the Retro Review. I am the Bearded Geek. Joining me as always is Mikey the Freak.
What's up?
And Bebo. Today we are going to be reviewing the movie Real Genius. Mikey the Freak, why don't you tell us a little bit about this movie?
Yeah, so Real Genius, 1985, the start of Val Kilmer's illustrious A career. Kind of give you an idea with the plot summary. An uptight teenage prodigy enters a top engineering college but feels awkward among the freewheeling students. When a professor aims to turn their laser project into a military weapon, he and his offbeat roommate plot to ruin the plan. Very good summary. It basically with Val Kilmer is the freewheeling student. He is one of those college students, so he is basically the genius, where they're cocky, arrogant, knows he can do the job, but yet those college students that just basically mess around their entire college career, I guess you could say, but smart. They Mitch, very serious student, always focused on the schoolwork, doesn't have time for games and wants to play around and wants to impress Dr. Hathaway, which is William Atherton plays that character. But basically it's a smart student meets a cut up or a fun freewheeling student, but it's a fun movie, I guess you could say. They get into so many shenanigans, and when they realize that the shenanigans sorry, inside joke. They realize that the laser project that they've been working on to actually for their grade to pass Dr. William Atherton's Dr. Hathaway. God, geez, it's way too early for a lot of us.
Words are hard.
But it's they built the laser to pass the class. Trying to find the words today. It's hard today. Holy shit. And they want to use that. There was an underlying reasoning behind that laser project was for the military. So once they find that out, they try to foil the plan and make a joke and turn his Dr. Hathaway's house into a giant Jiffy Pop popcorn popper, which is probably one of the funniest parts.
That was a lot of damn
the
popcorn.
Movie. That was a lot of popcorn. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Bebo, what are kind of your favorite parts, and what do you kind of thought about the movie?
I remember seeing this movie when I was younger, and I always liked it. It was the way you wanted, kind of school to be. You come in, trying to be serious. You meet a guy who's not so serious. He rubs off on you. You end up, just learning how to have fun, basically. I thought it was overall a good movie. My favorite parts, of course, in this were, of course, the popcorn scene that you mentioned. Absolutely love that. I loved when Mitchell, the youngest, the one who was coming to the school, met Val Kilmer's character for the first time. And he was just like, who the hell is this guy? How is he in this school, basically?
Yeah.
And I always loved it when he launched the little flying device in his room, and he's watching it go around the room, and then he goes, "Get down," and it goes out the window. And then he goes, "Now, would you classify that as a pilot error or a design problem?" And I was just like, that was always real funny to me. I also love Laszlo. Anybody who kind of sort of cracked and then lives in a basement underneath the school they used to go to.
Yeah.
It was just creepy but weird. But I also love how you had to get down to his room. You basically sat in what looked like the smallest, roller coaster ever. To go down to this creepy man station. And of course, the new kid, Mitchell, curiosity, because he's so smart, gets the better of him. This is why white people don't survive horror films. I'm just saying. Okay.
Because we're going.
Yeah, because we're the dumb ones like, oh, I wonder where this goes. Let me just follow this into the creepy ass little basement that nobody knows is here.
Now, didn't we determine, and I think we did, or maybe I missed it. Did we determine if that's the student, the prodigy that cracked that Dr. Hathaway was talking about at the beginning of the show?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Like the
I
12,
believe
the
so.
12-year-old that cracked? I think so.
I think so, but I mean, Chris explains what happened to Laszlo, or Val Kilmer explains what happened to him, saying that, he cracked because he found out that the stuff he was basically designing stuff was being used, to basically kill people and stuff like that, which ironically turns out to be exactly what happened to them.
Exactly the same thing.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, I enjoy the movie. I will say this: I've got several friends who have watched it. Maybe not their cup of tea. I enjoyed it, especially for it being an early Kilmer flick. I find it very funny. I can still watch it, like even if it comes on the TV right now. It's something I can watch at any time, wherever it is, and just kind of enjoy it.
Yeah.
But to someone who I don't believe had seen it before this happened, let's turn it over to the Bearded Geek and get his reply.
No, I have not seen this until we decided to review this movie. This movie reminded me like of Van Wilder.
Why you drink? Oh, sorry.
It reminded me of like Van Wilder meets The Big Bang Theory splashed with a little splash of nerds thrown in there with it. All combined into one movie. That's what this movie reminded me of. It definitely had some funny parts.
That was very scary because that was very accurate.
I
was going through those movies in my mind. I'm like, holy shit, it really is. It's like all those.
I think he wrote that shit down.
I did.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, from Val Kilmer wearing like the little alien headpiece to, making the dorm room a skating rink or ice skating park out of.
And that was hilarious.
That was genius.
That
It really
crazy.
was. I mean, it definitely had its quirky, funny, unique moments in it. That's definitely for sure. Other than that, man, I'm not gonna give my full grade right now, but I'm gonna move that on to Mikey the Freak. What was your grade for this movie?
And it's funny. I kind of look at a lot of that stuff that was going on, and that was pretty impressive with the ice that turns into a gas, and it wasn't completely wet at all.
Right.
So imagine, and I'm sure there's practical applications that they use for something like that. It's not. I would say it's a movie trick.
Oh yeah,
but
definitely movie magic.
You would think that, man, that's pretty damn impressive. You set up all these ice rinks everywhere, and then after so many hours or that it'll turn to a gas and it disappears, and there's no wet, there's no water, there's no cleanup, no nothing.
They just
pretty damn impressive.
They just got to make sure it don't explode.
Highly unstable.
I'm sure. Highly unstable. And I thought it was funny. What was the what was the thing he used for quarters that he cut?
It was liquid. It was supposed to be liquid nitrogen.
Liquid nitrogen. That's right. So how many people would want to try that? Have a stick of liquid nitrogen and I'll cut it like a quarter and see if it works.
Or now in today's world, you'd have to have one that would you could slice in a cash or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
you'd be sitting there forever with quarters. I'm almost at $5. I've almost got a soda now. Hold on.
Yeah. But based on this movie, it was what you kind of want. When I went to college, and yes, it was a very, very short, limited time. I kind of wanted my college life to be like that, fun, and
exactly,
very much so. Yeah. It definitely was not what I thought that would be. And of course, it's the 80s. Maybe it was fun in the 80s, but it wasn't in the 90s. It was horrible.
You tried, man. You had a ping pong table. You had a ping pong table in your living room.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
You tried.
And it took up the living room and the dining room. Yeah. We were hitting the wall when we were trying to go for the balls, bro. It was we made it work. But yeah, I'm going to give this movie an 8 because it's something that when it comes on, it kind of it's exciting because I wasn't really a science nerd to kind of understand like the lasers and how that kind of works. So when they show it, it's pretty cool. You know, they shoot that laser beam and it goes all the way across town and hits that the burger billboard.
Yeah.
Kind of fun. But nowadays you get arrested for shit like that. But
they should have been arrested back then.
Yeah, they probably should have. Yeah, but it's a college town. They kind of all that.
Oh yeah, let's just throw laws out the way.
Exactly. Put a big hole in the statue.
Must be Friday night.
Yeah. But I give the movie an 8 just for fun. It's exciting. It's a movie that comes on. I love watching. I would recommend it to several different people just because it's a young Val Kilmer. And I think that was his most exciting roles because it looked like he was having fun. It wasn't.
He definitely had fun in that movie.
Yes.
I believe. Yeah, I believe in his documentary, he said that was one of his favorite roles.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that. You can kind of see that in his character as well. And who wouldn't want to win 33% of all prizes because you can enter as many times as possible.
Right.
That shit don't happen either. You don't get as many entries as possible because somebody like that would still exist today.
Well, somebody like that is probably what ruined it for people like us today.
Exactly.
They saw that movie. Frito-Lay and Pepsi saw that movie and they're like, yeah, we got to come up with limitations.
Yeah.
They're probably sitting there going, son of a bitch. That's how they've been doing it.
Yeah. That movie paved the way for all sweepstakes entries.
Yeah.
And all rules and responsibilities. But yeah, I give that an 8. Bevo, what about yourself, bro?
I'm right there with you. I'd give this probably an 8, maybe an 8.5, but I'm definitely in that same area with you. This was always one of my favorite Kilmer movies, let alone just a good movie to watch. And I was much like you. I'm sadly, science stuff has always intrigued me, like the things that they built. But I am not a smart man, Jenny.
It goes, right over my head.
Laser, Layzer.
I'm not very good at anatomy either. That's what my wife says.
But no, the movie itself, like, you know, the interesting things that they did, like we said, the floor, ice, and then just evaporating the gas form. You know, there's no cleanup. That was kind of interesting. Even if it is movie magic, the idea process behind it was very intriguing.
Make it practical,
yeah. The liquid nitrogen, little coins, you know, shaving off pieces to use those to get free coffee because that's what you need at college. You know.
Definitely free.
I definitely don't think that they needed more caffeine.
No, not at all. But, you know, and like you said, that is how you wanted college to be, something fun. You know, you go to class, you have your schoolwork, but in the meantime, it's fun time. And anyone who's ever gone to college can tell you that shit does not happen.
No, it does not.
No.
At all, especially in a fucking dorm. But it's definitely a good movie. And I also want to point out one thing I forgot to mention earlier. My favorite part of the entire film of Kilmer's character was the pink bunny slippers.
The what?
The pink bunny slippers.
Oh, pink bunny slippers.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I loved those. And I love the fact that him and the congressman or whatever had this.
Oh, yeah.
The dean or whoever it was.
Her dad.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't her dad. I'm sorry.
No, it was like, it wasn't. Was it the president of the school
professor.
or something?
Yeah. He was
and he's like, he's looking at him, and may I just congratulate you on your choice in footwear?
Yes.
And they look down and they're both wearing the same things. So, but it's like I said, it's a movie I can watch at any time, regardless of where it is at the movie when I turn it on. It's just a good movie. What about you, Bearded Geek? Where's your rating on this? And if it's below a 2, you're out of the club.
It is not below a 2. No, this movie definitely had its moments. It had its funny moments, but unfortunately, I'm definitely not there with y'all. I'm gonna give this like a 4 for me. It had its moments. It just did not grab my attention. I was constantly, you know, kind of like going to my phone and it just did not grab my attention as well.
Too sciencey for you.
Maybe. I mean, I a lot of times I like movies like that, but I mean, I don't know what it was about this one particular movie that it just didn't grab me.
We finally found a movie that Mike likes that's not a musical, and you gave it a fucking 4. You ass.
I gave it a 4. It's not.
You know what? You know what might have thrown it off? I didn't like Gabriel Jarrett's character, Mitch. Mitch was kind of that.
He was too vanilla. Too vanilla.
Yeah. And I'm sure that's what his character was supposed to be, but
there was no growth.
Be a turnoff.
There was no growth for him in the movie. There was no real growth for anybody in this movie. Everybody pretty much stayed the exact same person who they were.
Yeah.
They just
let's talk about this too. I didn't mean to cut you off. Now, he said he was what age? 14, right?
15, I think. Yeah,
15, right? Yeah. And Jordan, that his love interest in the movie was what age? 19?
19? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about an age difference. Let's talk about
there was
statutory rape.
No, I'm not talking about it. Not kicking me off YouTube.
No. That's just, I don't like this age. I didn't like that part of the movie. And that could have been a big turn off as well. That
maybe.
Like really, he's 14 or 15 and you're 19.
I'll be honest, I never paid attention to their ages in this.
Yeah.
So that was never something I questioned. It wasn't, I mean, you could tell that she seemed older than him, but not like
that much older,
10 years older or something like that. It was it just looked like,
in that age range, it's a problem. 10 years from now, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I mean,
yeah.
But that's not. I don't know.
But you've also got a 15-year-old or whatever who's literally starting at college at a very high level of education.
Yeah,
going into it. So he's not like your average 14-year-old who would have been like boobs.
True, but I just didn't.
Now. Shut up.
I didn't associate with the main character. It didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't grab me. I couldn't follow. I mean, I followed the movie. I enjoyed it for what it was, but I mean, I can't give it higher than a 4 because like I said, it didn't capture me. I kept going to my phone and it didn't hold my attention. I wouldn't recommend this movie. I'm sure y'all would, but I wouldn't recommend this movie. So like I said, I'm gonna give it a 4.
I will say this though, on the Bearded Geeks behalf, I feel like if this wasn't something I watched when I was younger, like if it was something I just watched today, I'd probably be in the same boat as him.
Yeah, that could have something to do with it too. Like this is something y'all both remember from the past.
Well, not only that, but and it is one of those typical 80 fashion movies, the way it's shot and stuff, to where it's gonna seem very different than the way movies are today, especially even for that type of a movie. It's so I can definitely see where the Bearded Geek's coming from. But the fact that he gave it a 4 means that next week's episode will be just me and Mikey, because
well, I mean,
we're all entitled to our opinions, like I said, regardless of how wrong they are. But
right.
Hey, it's still outranked back in me, so you're okay.
Yeah, that is true. All right, Bebo, what do we got for some movie trivia, man?
I found a couple things that I thought were a little interesting here. I'm not going to go through this movie had a lot of trivia stuff that I was found, but where you see the scene where the military is set up for the laser test fire, and you see like the cars in the procession there lined up on that dirt road, that was actually set up to replicate the JFK assassination.
So it looked like it.
So if you go back, well, Mike, if you go back, because we know the Bearded Geek won't.
Bearded Geek ain't watching this movie again.
And look at that. You can tell that.
Yeah.
But that's what it was set up for. So in regard to the liquid nitrogen coins, it says that it has baffled viewers for many years and are considered by many to be like a goof. However, it says the very first draft of the script shows that it wasn't an error. The thermos contains liquid nitrogen, which in turn contains a column of supercooled CO2, and that's what he's actually supposed to be cutting into the quarters.
So it's water. He's just cutting water. Carbon dioxide.
CO2. Gotcha. So he's basically cutting that to put in there, which would have eventually melted anyway. So it's not like they would have stayed in there or anything and dangerous.
Yeah.
And back to the Frito-Lay sweepstakes that we were talking about earlier. When Laszlo Holyfield sends in a large number of entries in the Frito-Lay contest, he's mirroring the actions of Caltech students Steve Klein, Dave Novikov, and Barry Magdal, who in 1974 used a similar strategy to win a McDonald's sweepstakes. All the entries came to roughly a fifth of the total entries that were submitted, and it actually won them a station wagon, $3,000 cash, and $1,500 in food gift certificates.
Oh, wow.
That's funny.
So those assholes are why, I can't enter in sweepstakes more than once. But that was just a couple things. They got a lot of stuff in here, especially with the technology stuff that was in Real Genius that people have commented on. But those were just a couple of the little tidbits I thought were kind of interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Now moving on to movie memorabilia. And now moving on to related reels.
That's a movie memorabilia. And I'm like, you don't have anything for this movie.
I don't,
there is
man.
nothing.
There isn't,
There is
man.
nothing out
I
there.
looked it up and like
That's like
a
wah,
t-shirt.
wah, wah,
Yeah, you could get like
meow.
a t-shirt or a movie poster. I'm like, I'm not gonna put.
Yeah, that's the standard stuff can always grab.
Yeah. What we got for related reels, Mikey the Freak?
All right, so some of these characters are actresses and actors we've actually done in previous movies. We talk about William Atherton, who played Dr. Hathaway. We did talk about him.
Dick in every movie.
He's always the asshole
Always
in
the
every
dick.
single
He
movie.
got typecasted.
Yes. Well, when you need a job, you need a job.
Sure.
But the two biggest movies I always liked him in, well, on top of this one, was Die Hard, which was one of our previous podcasts that we did for Christmas, as well
Die Hard
as
2? Oh, sorry.
and Die Hard 2. Ghostbusters. So I really enjoy them in Ghostbusters. Shut it down. And then we talk about Michelle Mayrink, which played Jordan, which was Mitch's love interest in the movie. She was actually in The Outsiders, back also a movie in the 80s. C. Thomas Howell and Rob Lowe, a bunch of different Ralph Macchio.
Karate Kid.
Right, yeah, the whole Karate Kid cast. And Revenge of the Nerds. She was a character in Revenge of the Nerds, which is also a very good 80s movie.
Yeah.
If you guys want to watch, all of them are very good. The first two are good, but the last couple ones are kind of is what it is.
They made more than two.
Oh yeah, they made a crap ton.
Yes, they did a bunch. Robert Carradine had nothing else to do in the 80s other than make Revenge of the Nerds sequels. He's like, yeah, we'll make another one. Absolutely, we'll make another one. Sure, I got nothing to do. And then of course Val Kilmer, your main character. He's always good in Batman, which he actually played Batman. Top Gun and The Doors, which he was Jim Morrison in The Doors. So very good movie.
Good. No Willow.
If you guys,
No Willow.
what? No Willow.
I swear to God, if y'all
Was
keep
he in
hating on
Willow?
Willow,
Was he actually in Willow? No. Yes. Oh my God, I didn't know that. So another movie that I'd like to say would be The Saint. If no one's ever watched. Yeah, if no one's ever watched The Saint with Val Kilmer, very good movie to watch. Get your popcorn and your soda.
Laser your
It's
popcorn.
very, very good one. And then the Mitch, which was Gabriel Jarrett.
Mhm.
He didn't really do too much, but he's always one of those where if you look up, they do like television commercials and one-liners and like ER and Law and Order, always like those one episodes where they just,
they're either like those one big characters in a scene, or everything else they've done has been behind the camera.
Basically nothing. Yeah.
one episode. Yeah. So not much. But that's it. That's all I got.
All right, guys. If you like this episode, make sure you give us a good old thumb in. Hit that like button. It really boosts our numbers in YouTube and the algorithm and stuff like that. Leave a comment. Tell us what you'd like us to review. Make sure it's 80s or 90s. And hit that bell to get notifications for when we post new videos. All right, I do believe that does it for this episode of Back to the Retro Review. For Mikey the Freak and Bebo, I am the Bearded Geek. Thank you for retro, everybody.
So,